Most people underestimate what they can do in a year and overestimate what they can do in a week. They set goals, they talk about dreams, but they don't build the habits that make those dreams real. Listen, discipline isn't punishment, it's freedom. It's the bridge between who you are right now and who you're capable of becoming. Imagine if for just 1 year you stopped negotiating with your excuses. 1 year where you wake up when you said you would, you show up when you said you would, you do what needs to be done, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. That 1 year could change your direction, your mindset, your income, your relationships, even the way you look at yourself in the mirror. So today I'm going to show you how 1 year of pure, relentless discipline can change your entire life. Discipline is not something that appears out of nowhere. It's not a spark that hits you one morning when you feel motivated. It's a deliberate decision you make every single day, even when your body resists and your mind tells you to take it easy. The truth is, feelings are unreliable. They come and go like the weather. You cannot build your future around emotions that shift every hour. Discipline, on the other hand, is stable. It's the anchor that keeps you steady when the waves of distraction, laziness, or fear start pulling you away from your goals. Every great transformation begins with one choice, the choice to act, no matter how you feel in that moment. There will be mornings when the alarm goes off, and every part of you will want to stay in bed. The temptation to hit snooze will whisper that 5 more minutes won't hurt. But those 5 more minutes are not just lost time, they're moments of surrender. Every time you choose comfort over commitment, you send a message to your mind that quitting is acceptable. Discipline rewrites that message. It says, no, I run my life, not my feelings. It's a silent, powerful declaration that your goals matter more than your excuses. And over time, that mindset becomes your greatest strength. Most people wait for motivation to appear before they act. They want to feel inspired before they move, but that's like waiting for a perfect day to start. If you rely on motivation, you'll always be inconsistent because motivation is emotional and emotions are temporary. The disciplined person doesn't care about the perfect mood or perfect moment. They care about movement. They understand that consistency creates clarity and clarity creates results. When you act despite resistance, you train your brain to see progress as normal. You stop chasing inspiration and start building momentum. The first step is often the hardest, but it's also the most powerful. Once you take action, even a small one, you break the chain of hesitation. You'll notice that doing the work becomes easier once you begin. The human mind hates unfinished tasks, so when you start, your focus automatically shifts toward completion. That's the secret most people never learn. Discipline doesn't remove difficulty, it removes the delay between intention and action. It transforms I should into I did. In every area of life, health, business, relationships, self-growth, discipline is the deciding factor between average and extraordinary. It's what makes a person show up at the gym when no one is watching. It's what drives someone to keep learning when everyone else is scrolling through distractions. It's what helps you build something lasting while others chase quick results. You don't become disciplined overnight. You become disciplined through repetition. Each time you follow through on a promise, no matter how small, you strengthen your will. It's like building muscle. Every rep counts, every day adds up. There will be setbacks. There will be days when you fail, skip, or fall behind. But discipline isn't destroyed by failure. It's built through recovery. The key is to get back up immediately, not tomorrow, not next week, right now, because every time you restart quickly, you teach your mind that failure isn't final. That resilience is what separates disciplined people from dreamers. Dreamers wait for the right time. Disciplined people create it. The beauty of discipline is that it doesn't demand perfection. It only demands effort. One small action done daily with intention has more power than one big action done occasionally. When you begin to act from discipline rather than mood, life starts to shift. You gain control over your mind, your time, and your outcomes. You stop being a prisoner of procrastination and become the architect of your own destiny. That's the real power of choice. Deciding every day that your purpose is worth the discomfort. Because discipline isn't about doing what's easy, it's about doing what's right, especially when it's hard. Goals give you direction, but systems determine your destiny. Most people spend their lives chasing goals that sound impressive, but never build the habits to sustain them. They say, I want to lose weight, I want to make more money, I want to be confident, but their daily actions don't support those desires. The truth is, your life doesn't rise to the level of your goals. It falls to the level of your systems. A goal is only an idea, but a system is a process that makes the idea real. The moment you start thinking in terms of systems instead of outcomes, you stop hoping for success and start engineering it. Imagine someone sets a goal to run a marathon. That goal means nothing without a training plan, a routine, a nutrition structure, and consistency. The system, waking up early, running short distances, increasing endurance, eating right, tracking progress, that's what gets the person to the finish line. Discipline fuels that system. Without discipline, the system breaks and the goal fades. Most people think they fail because their goals are too big, but they actually fail because their systems are too weak. A strong system makes the goal inevitable. 1 year of discipline means creating a system that eliminates excuses. You don't rely on motivation or mood, you rely on structure. If you want to write a book, make it a system to write 500 words every morning. If you want to get fit, make it a system to train 5 days a week at the same time. Systems remove decision fatigue. You don't waste energy wondering if you should do something. You simply do it because it's built into your routine. Success becomes automatic when your daily habits align with your vision. Discipline isn't about intensity for a few weeks. It's about consistency for months and years. Every successful person you admire operates from systems. Athletes have training schedules, not just dreams of winning medals. Entrepreneurs follow processes, not just visions of success. Artists practice daily, not only when they feel inspired. The world's top performers understand that emotion can't be trusted, but structure can. A system acts as a safety net for your discipline. When you're tired, when you're unmotivated, when life feels heavy, your system keeps you on track. It doesn't ask for perfection, it only asks for repetition. Building a system means designing your environment to make good decisions easy and bad ones hard. If you're trying to eat healthy, don't keep junk food in your house. If you want to focus more, turn off notifications, delete distractions, and schedule your time. Your surroundings shape your behavior more than you realize. It's not always about willpower, it's about creating an environment that supports your goals. People who rely on motivation are inconsistent, but people who rely on systems can operate even when motivation disappears. That's the true difference between a dreamer and a doer. Systems also bring clarity. When you have a structured routine, your brain knows what's next. There's no confusion, no wasted thought about when to start or how much to do. You save mental energy for execution, not decision making. Over time, your mind starts to associate your system with identity. You stop saying, I'm trying to be disciplined, and start saying, I am disciplined. You don't just do the work, you become the kind of person who does the work. That shift is where real transformation happens. The biggest mistake people make is thinking they need massive changes to see results. The truth is, small, repeatable actions done with discipline outperform big, inconsistent efforts every single time. Systems compound. One productive habit feeds another. You begin to build momentum, and that momentum turns into mastery. Your systems eventually carry you forward even when you don't notice. That's when life starts to feel different, smoother, more controlled, more purposeful. If you give yourself 1 year of disciplined systems, your entire mindset changes. You begin to trust yourself because your structure supports your goals. You no longer need motivation to act. You act because it's who you are. Systems turn ambition into achievement, and discipline is the force that keeps those systems alive. Massive change never begins with a single big action. It starts with a series of small, consistent choices made every day when no one is watching. The mistake most people make is believing that transformation comes from grand gestures or major breakthroughs. They want instant results and overnight success, but the truth is that growth is built one small victory at a time. Every day you do something that aligns with your purpose, you take one step closer to a life that looks completely different. It may not feel significant in the moment, but small wins have a compounding power that eventually becomes unstoppable. The magic of consistency is invisible at first. You won't see the results in a week. You might not even notice progress for a month. And that's where most people quit, in the silent phase when the effort feels heavy and the reward seems far away. But the disciplined person keeps going, trusting the process even when the progress isn't obvious. That's the difference between the average and the exceptional. The average person looks for proof before committing. The exceptional person commits before proof appears. They understand that results are delayed, not denied. When you keep showing up, the small actions you take start to multiply in impact. Every time you make a small disciplined choice, waking up early, choosing water over soda, reading instead of scrolling, working instead of procrastinating, you are building momentum. Momentum is like gravity. Once it starts pulling you forward, it gets harder to stop. Each action makes the next one easier. The first few days may feel like pushing a boulder uphill, but eventually that boulder starts rolling on its own. The key is patience and faith in the process. When you focus on the small wins, the big results take care of themselves. Think of your life as a bank account. Every small disciplined action is a deposit. Skipping workouts, breaking promises, or giving up early, those are withdrawals. Most people want to make one big deposit and expect instant wealth. But real success works like compound interest. The small, consistent deposits you make daily eventually turn into something extraordinary. At first, it feels slow, but one day you wake up and realize that everything you've been doing has added up to something massive. You didn't just change your circumstances, you changed your character. The truth is, no one notices your small efforts in the beginning. You'll work in silence and people might not believe in you. They might even laugh at your consistency because they don't see the payoff. But one day when the results become undeniable, they'll call you lucky or gifted. They won't realize that your luck was built from hundreds of days of discipline that no one saw. The small unglamorous steps are the real foundation of success. The gym sessions when you were tired, the study hours when you didn't feel like it, the early mornings and late nights. Those are the moments that separate you from the rest. Small wins also rewire your brain. Every time you complete a small task successfully, you get a small dose of accomplishment that builds your confidence. Your brain starts associating effort with reward, creating a positive feedback loop. Over time, you stop resisting hard work because you've trained your mind to enjoy progress, no matter how small. That mental shift is life-changing. You begin to see that success isn't one giant leap, it's a series of tiny, deliberate steps taken consistently. It's easy to overlook small actions because they don't make you feel powerful right away. But discipline is about trusting that every drop fills the bucket. The person you are becoming is shaped by what you do daily, not what you do occasionally. If you commit to those small, boring, consistent steps for one full year, your life will look nothing like it does today. Because small wins build momentum, and momentum builds transformation. That's how ordinary people create extraordinary results quietly, one disciplined day at a time. Excuses are seductive because they sound reasonable. They make you feel justified in staying comfortable, in delaying your effort, in convincing yourself that tomorrow is a better time to begin. But every excuse is a brick in the wall that stands between you and your potential. Each time you say, "I'm too tired," or "I don't have time," you reinforce the belief that your comfort is more important than your commitment. The truth is, no one ever changed their life through convenience. Growth doesn't come from what's easy. It comes from doing what's necessary, especially when you don't feel like it. The moment you replace excuses with action, everything about your future begins to shift. People often believe that circumstances are the reason they can't succeed. They blame lack of time, lack of resources, or lack of support. But discipline doesn't depend on perfect conditions. It thrives in imperfect ones. The most successful people in the world aren't those who had it easy. They're the ones who kept going when it was hard. They didn't wait for motivation to strike. They built routines that made excuses irrelevant. When you train your mind to execute no matter what, you stop being a victim of your environment and become a creator of your destiny. Excuses are comforting because they protect your ego. They give you a story to tell yourself when you fall short. But deep down, you know the truth. Every excuse costs you progress. Every time you postpone action, you trade the life you want for temporary comfort. The difference between winners and complainers isn't opportunity, it's execution. Both face struggles, but one moves through them while the other explains why they can't. The disciplined person doesn't argue with reality. They adapt, they move, they act. And that single mindset shift from explanation to execution changes everything. There will always be reasons to delay. You'll always have something going on, someone to blame, or something to fix before you start. But if you wait for the perfect moment, you'll never begin. Life doesn't reward those who plan forever. It rewards those who take imperfect action. The power of execution is that it builds momentum, and momentum kills excuses. Once you start moving even a little, the resistance begins to fade. The key is to take the first step, no matter how small. That's how you train your brain to focus on doing instead of doubting. When you decide to act, you take back control. You no longer hand your power to fear, laziness, or procrastination. Action is the cure for hesitation. It's the antidote to overthinking. You can spend hours convincing yourself why something might not work, or you can spend that same time trying and learning. Progress doesn't come from thinking, it comes from doing. You won't always get it right, but every attempt teaches you something that excuses never will. Execution creates experience, and experience creates growth. One of the strongest truths about discipline is that it demands honesty. You must be willing to call yourself out when you start justifying your own limitations. The moment you catch yourself saying, "I can't," challenge it with, "How can I?" That one question turns weakness into creativity. Instead of running from obstacles, you begin to find solutions. That's what separates disciplined people from everyone else. They stop focusing on the reasons something won't work and start focusing on what they can do right now to make it happen. Every time you silence an excuse with action, you prove to yourself that you're in control. You start trusting your own strength. You start realizing that discipline isn't about perfection, it's about persistence. You won't feel like it every day, and that's okay. The point is to show up anyway, because every day you execute when you don't want to, you gain power. You become mentally stronger, emotionally tougher, and spiritually unshakable. Excuses weaken the mind, but execution builds resilience. And when resilience becomes your habit, excuses lose their voice completely. That's when real progress begins, not when you talk about what you'll do, but when you simply do it. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, something powerful happens inside you. You begin to rebuild trust with the person who matters most, You. Most people don't realize how deeply they've broken that trust. They say they'll wake up early but hit snooze. They plan to eat healthy but give in to cravings. They promise to start working on their dreams but push it to tomorrow. Each of those small broken promises chips away at your self-respect. You begin to doubt your own word, and once that happens, it's hard to believe you can achieve anything meaningful. Discipline changes that. Every time you follow through, even on the smallest task, you prove to yourself that your words carry weight. You become reliable, dependable, and confident. Self-respect doesn't come from others validating you or praising your effort. It comes from knowing that you do what you said you'd do, even when no one is watching. That inner strength, the quiet pride of self-accountability, is what builds true confidence. Discipline is not about controlling yourself through force. It's about aligning your actions with your values. When what you do matches what you believe, you start feeling grounded and powerful. You stop needing approval because you've already earned your own. That's the secret most people miss. Self-respect isn't built through success, it's built through integrity. Success is just the result of that alignment over time. 1 year of discipline can completely change the way you see yourself. When you stop breaking promises and start keeping them, you begin to respect your own boundaries. You no longer tolerate laziness, excuses, or half effort because they no longer fit who you are. You start demanding more from yourself, not out of pressure, but out of pride. You begin to realize that you deserve the results of hard work because you've earned them. And that feeling, that deep sense of earned confidence, can't be faked or taken away. The problem is that most people seek confidence first, thinking it will give them the motivation to take action. But it's the opposite. Action comes first, confidence follows. Every time you act with discipline, you build a little more belief in yourself. Every time you do the right thing, even when it's uncomfortable, your mind collects proof that you are capable. Over time, those moments of proof add up until self-doubt loses its power. You no longer need to talk yourself into being confident. You just are, because your actions have shown you who you are. Discipline also teaches you emotional control. When you start living with self-respect, you stop reacting impulsively. You don't allow your emotions to dictate your behavior because you've trained your mind to stay steady. When you say you'll do something, you do it, whether you feel like it or not. That consistency becomes your identity. People around you start to notice the difference. They can sense your presence, your certainty, your reliability. You stop chasing validation because you've already proven your worth through action. That's what makes disciplined people so magnetic. Their confidence comes from authenticity, not arrogance. And when you respect yourself, you start attracting better things into your life. You make better choices, surround yourself with better people, and pursue better opportunities. Self-respect sets the standard for everything you accept. You stop allowing disrespect both from others and from yourself. You stop settling for mediocrity because you know what you're capable of when you commit fully. That's the beauty of discipline. It's not about punishment or perfection. It's about dignity. It's about carrying yourself in a way that says, I know who I am, and I won't settle for less than that. When you live with discipline, every small victory adds a layer of confidence. You no longer need to shout your worth. You live it quietly, consistently, and powerfully. Your actions speak for you. And when your actions and your identity align, you don't just gain confidence, you gain peace. You stop fighting with yourself. You start trusting yourself again. That's when life feels lighter, stronger, and more meaningful. Because the deepest form of respect isn't from others applauding your results. It's from looking in the mirror and knowing you kept your word no matter what. A year will pass whether you do something or not. Time doesn't wait for anyone. It moves forward quietly and consistently. The question isn't whether the next 365 days will come. It's who you'll be when they do. Every decision you make today shapes that future version of yourself. The difference between success and regret is what you choose to do with each day that passes. Discipline turns time into transformation. Without it, a year becomes just another cycle of broken promises and unrealized potential. With it, those same 12 months become the foundation of a completely different life. The truth is, most people underestimate how much they can accomplish in a single year. They think real change takes forever, so they delay. They wait for January, for the perfect Monday, for the motivation to strike. But waiting is the enemy of growth. The clock is ticking whether you act or not, and the only question that matters is how you'll use that time. Imagine what would happen if, for 1 full year, you decided to stay consistent no matter what, to show up every day, even when you were tired, even when no one noticed. The compound effect of that kind of discipline is life-changing. Each day is a building block. Some days will feel heavy, others light, but every single one adds up. One workout doesn't transform your body. One day of reading doesn't expand your mind. One act of courage doesn't build your future. But repeat them over and over again, and you'll look back a year later amazed at who you've become. The results are often invisible in the moment, but undeniable in time. That's the beauty of discipline. It works silently, building strength in the background until one day it shows up in everything you do. There will be days when you won't feel like doing anything. You'll question whether it's worth it, whether all this effort will lead somewhere. Those are the days that test you. Those are the days that build you. Because discipline isn't about doing what's easy, it's about doing what's necessary. When you push through resistance, you strengthen your mind. Every time you overcome laziness, you reinforce your power. 1 year of that kind of mental conditioning changes the way you think forever. You stop seeing challenges as problems and start seeing them as opportunities to prove your strength. You have to remember that progress is not always loud. It doesn't always come with applause or recognition. Sometimes progress is quiet. The decision to keep going, the extra hour of effort, the discipline to stay focused when everyone else has given up, those small, unseen moments shape your destiny more than any big public victory ever could. People often admire success, but rarely understand the years of unseen work that built it. A disciplined year is full of those quiet sacrifices that no one sees, but everyone eventually feels in your results. It's easy to overestimate what can happen in a month and underestimate what can happen in a year. A year of focused effort can turn fear into confidence, confusion into clarity, and frustration into fulfillment. The transformation isn't just external, it's internal. You begin to see yourself differently. You begin to realize that you are capable of more than you ever imagined. That belief becomes your fuel. Once you experience what consistent discipline can do, you'll never want to go back to the person who made excuses. The next 365 days will pass whether you're disciplined or distracted, committed or complacent. The calendar doesn't care, but your future self does. A year from now, you could either look back with pride or with regret. Every single day is a vote for the kind of person you want to become. If you choose discipline today and repeat that choice again and again, your life will not just improve, it will completely transform. Because when you master consistency for 1 full year, you don't just change your habits, you change your identity. You prove to yourself that you are in control of your story, and that realization is the beginning of true freedom. So after everything we've talked about, remember this: your life won't change by chance, it will change by choice. You don't need to have everything figured out, you just need to start. 1 day of discipline leads to another, and before you know it, those days become momentum, that momentum becomes strength, and that strength becomes a new version of you, one that's unstoppable. You have exactly 1 life, and time is moving whether you use it or not. So decide today that the next year will not be wasted. Decide that you will show up for yourself every single day, not because it's easy, not because it's convenient, but because you deserve the life that discipline can give you. It's not about perfection, it's about persistence. And if you stay consistent for 1 full year, you'll look back and realize you didn't just change your habits, you rewrote your story. Now, if this message connected with you, if it woke something up inside you, then don't keep it to yourself. Hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and share it with someone who needs to hear it today. Because you never know how 1 word, 1 message, 1 spark can change someone's life forever. Thank you so much for being here, for taking this time to grow, to listen, and to believe that your life can be more than what it's been. You have greatness inside you, and the only thing standing between where you are and where you want to be is consistent action. So go out there, start today, stay disciplined, and I promise, 1 year from now, you won't even recognize yourself. Until next time, stay focused, stay strong, and never stop becoming who you're meant to be. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.